G'day Freedom Lovers, back here again with North Queensland Freedom Network. Marcus here today with Peter and Jeanie to talk about My Place. So please tell me, what exactly is My Place?
Okay. My Place was first arrived in Frankston in Victoria. Going back in November last year, I had a little bit of a discussion with Darren from My Place. We were looking for different ways to be able to bring our community together again. Rather than to like marches, protests, all that sort of stuff. That sort of stuff is out the door. We need something to be able to bring people together, and we need to have a community. We will set up our own council. We will bring people together, and we will form our council, and we'll also form a private member association, which will bring our 670 member base together. So now we have 670 something
678, yeah.
Yep. And we have almost our financial membership. It's almost there. We need 21 members to become financial members, and then we can set up our council.
21 more now.
So 21 more. Yep. So My Place basically was first started in Frankston. I made the phone call to Darren. I said, look, this is the idea that I have. I want to find out more about what you're doing. So I do believe that we were probably about the third in Australia, and now there's over 100 My Place communities in Australia, spread out everywhere, from Cairns all the way down to Victoria, and I do believe there's one starting in Western Australia as well.
So if I understand this correctly, My Place, not MySpace, that's well and truly dead and buried. My Place is kind of like a direct opposition to the current sitting councils, and in an attempt to sort of, bring the power back to the people. Would that be a correct assessment?
Yeah. Well, basically what it is, if you got councils that are not exactly doing the right thing by the men and women of the country. You got politicians that are doing whatever they want to do. They're ignoring our constitution. They're ignoring the people, or the men and women, I should say, of this country. So what we've set out to do is we've set out to put our community together to be able to form a group. We're not a radical group. We're just an ordinary group of men and women that are putting things together to be able to say to the council, well, in every area, hey, why are you doing this? Or why aren't you doing this? So fluoride is one thing, 5G is another, and the 20-minute city. We're asking questions and we want the answers. So,
well, I think a 20-minute city's definitely gone past the point of conspiracy theory, because now they're advertising it as, wow, what a wonderful concept. And it certainly seems pretty scary. Obviously, I think those who have really done their research know that fluoride is obviously not good for us. And, well, 5G, where's the science that proves that it's safe? I believe that's where we're looking at these concepts.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, Jeanie and there's a couple of other girls that have been meeting on Wednesdays to discuss different letters and that sort of thing to put forward to the council. Sharon's around.
We've got a little group that we're going to just challenge the council to actually ask them initially, show us the safety studies that you've done, because fluoride was introduced into Townsville in 1964, and as far as we can find, there's nothing on their website, there have been no safety studies done. So we just want to ask the question, can you show us the safety studies? And if you haven't got it, well, then we want to ask some more questions, because there is so much research out there actually showing that it is very dangerous. There's a USA court case going on at the moment that has been going on since 2016, and that's just been forced to release some suppressed documents that are really quite damning. And it's showing that fluoride in the water, if the pregnant woman drinks the fluoride, it's going through to the baby, and it's actually reducing their IQ. If we can get that information and actually say, how can you, once you know this information, how can you keep putting that fluoride out there? So that's our big one that we want at the moment.
And we want to know also, with the 5G, we want to know what's it going to do? What harm is it going to be? What's it going to cause to anyone? 5G, the fluoride, the 20-minute city, and it's a 20-minute walk, around your city. You know, and if people want to go outside that area, they're either going to have to pay or they'll get fined.
Yeah.
So, which I think it's just way overstepping of government and bureaucracy, because like a council, a local council is a local council. It's not a government department. So we've had referendums on that before, and they were all said no. Yeah, there was no put forward on the referendum. So they're a local council that should be representing the men and women of Townsville.
So those are some of the basic issues, and I don't think it's too unreasonable to say, well, if these things are safe, then please provide the proof. It shouldn't be hard. You know, if they're in the right, all they have to do is produce the documentation. If they can't, then there must be something wrong. So,
Question, and they can't give me the documents.
what was that question?
That was, please give me a copy of the safety studies that you used or that you do use to prove that it's not dangerous, that it's safe and it's effective. And
Is that regarding fluoride?
with fluoride, and they came back with an old document that came back from about before 2012, where all the legislation and everything's changed, and there's so many discrepancies in it. So I've come back a second time and saying, you have not given me I wanted a scientific safety study. So something that is, you know, official. And they give me a generic printout with information on fluoride, saying that fluoride is a natural occurring compound. But the fluoride in our water in Townsville isn't the natural form that comes out of your minerals. It's a sodium fluorosilicate, which is a compound that is a byproduct of phosphate manufacturing. So it's far from being safe.
And again, the fact that they're not answering a simple, straightforward question.
Answer my question. No, they just evaded it, and they gave it to an admin girl to follow up, which I don't hold her responsible for it in any way. But yeah, it was just, it's not up to date. It's not a good reflection on the council to start with, that they should actually scrutinise that and see if that's a good document to send out. But no, they haven't. They've just let somebody, I don't know, it wasn't referred through to one of the councillors or the department. It just went through the inquiries.
So how is my place going to, obviously outside of, you know, actually writing letters as opposed to marching down the street, getting some real hard evidence. So there's that community sort of thing going on there. But how does my place itself actually offer an alternative to the current council?
Because the council actually doesn't let us go in to meetings or anything. But if we can get the power of a lot of numbers, like's happened down in Frankston, they had 140 people go to a council meeting there on the 20-minute city because they sent 7 letters in and they weren't replied to, so they went in. So now you can tell the rest there.
That's what we'll be doing. We'll be doing the same thing.
And they're actually invited now to council meetings.
They invite.
Well, look, let's just sort of start at the beginning process. So the people in Frankston were invited into the council through...
Initially.
Obviously not initially. So what was the catalyst that got that to happen?
Of course, 140 turned up.
Yeah. Basically, bums on seat, you know, like people standing outside the council.
Strength in numbers.
Like our council here, you've got to make an application to go to the council. Otherwise, you're not allowed to go in there. So
and you can't speak.
No.
You're up in the top gallery.
And it's all cordoned off. You're not allowed to speak, can't ask questions or anything. You've got to make an application to do it. And I mean, going back months ago, they were using COVID as an excuse. That excuse is worn off. So you have to apply to them to be able to go. So we're going to do it the way we need to do it. As a community, as a group of men and women, and we're going to do it lawfully. We're going to use the necessary documentation that we can put forward to them personally, not as a council, personally.
So what kind of numbers are we looking at? You say you needed 21. What have you got so far?
The way that they do things to form a council, you need 200 financial. Okay, so
we currently have 178 and something. Yeah.
So we need 179. We need 21 members, so that we can form our own council, and then we'll form our own private member association, which will be for the men and women. It'll be their association. It doesn't have to be a government organised type of association, because it's done basically under the law of the land with men and women. And that's how it's all done. We don't have to register any corporation or anything like that. We're a community group, and as a community group, we can do this. It's what they're doing all around Australia, a whole lot.
Is there a specific law or act in which this is being validated by, I guess, or?
Yeah, well, basically under our constitution, and I won't go into detail there, but with our constitution, it actually allows us to be able to set up communities, to be able to set up groups, or I shouldn't use the word groups, but like gatherings, to be able to come up against these guys. Because if we can get the right amount of numbers and we can turn up in there and we can go, hey, you guys are not doing your job, it's time for us to, well, in the next elections, for argument's sake, we have our own group, we have our own gathering of men and women that will run up against them, and they need to be kicked out because they're not doing the right thing for the men and women of this country all around Australia. Everyone is complaining about it, and it's everywhere. Rates, water, all this sort of stuff, the whole lot of it. People are up in arms, they've had enough. I think it's about time.
Well, Frankston started in about July, I think, 2022, and within a few months, not very long at all, they had 5,000 members. Yeah. So it's not that we're duplicating it, but they're like the template of seeing what happens down there. So that allows all the other organisations or all the other groups around Australia to actually bounce off ideas with each other. So there's an Australia-wide My Place website, and in there will be resources and things like that. So, and there will be Zoom meetings that they're going to have independent news reports as well. So there'll be reports from each centre. And so it'll be just getting it so wide that there's so many people that will start attracting other people. Because we know there's people out there that aren't into marches and they weren't into rallies and holding signs on the side of the road, but this is very different. You know, the time of the anti-vax is gone, and we're about people's rights now, and we're seeing with everything that's changing that people are becoming more aware that it's actually happening. Just look at the financial system, look at the banking system, look at, everything, all the regulations that they're changing. They're actually quite visible. So now we've got that opportunity to bring those people in, and hopefully we get the skills. So, because it's about getting skill sets as well, and numbers, and kind of decentralising kind of organisations. So we make different hubs of groups, and it's a parallel society that can help the members in the group. So we find who's got the skills, and we look at making maybe a food sourcing group, and they go out and they find the farmers, the local farmers. They bring the produce in, we buy them. We have a health and wellbeing group, so we look at alternative health and things like that. Homeschooling, a law group, a media group. And from those, you'll get like a marketing manager or something, or just a representative. And then once a week, they'll have a Zoom with the 100 organisations that are around Australia. So they then sit on their Zoom, they talk and say, what are you doing in, Northern Territory at the moment? What's really working up there? So that is power to be able to work with everybody else. And that
green thumb.
Yeah, so that's where we're trying to extend, so that we've got all these little backup plans on how we can help our own members, or our members will be helping each other.
And that's Australia-wide. That's everywhere. Yeah. So we're basically a member of an Australia-wide group, but we have our own groups here.
So you mentioned the website, so www.myplaceaustralia.org. Is there a sub?
But yes, we have a new website.
We're still establishing it. We're on Telegram.
Yes.
Yeah, posted on the bottom.
Yeah.
Only just started a few weeks ago, but it's got all the all the shell of it. Now we just need to put the content in there. But there's calendars, there's workshop reminders, things like that, and there's sections for information and resources as well. So it will build. It'll be really quite good once we get it going.
And we have a barbecue every month, which brings members together again.
Yep.
Which brings all of our community together. I mean, we had one last weekend. Absolutely brilliant. Yes. The feedback from that has been positive. Everyone sort of messaged or called and said, hey, that was great. When are you doing it again? We'll be there next time. Some people had actually said, well, we couldn't get there, but heard it was great. We'll come there next time. So it was very good.
It's about building our community. If I can just read out, because I can't always remember. This is the goal of My Place Australia. It is to implement a project that allows us to step away from the current systems that are not serving our best interests. So as we come together and share our skills and knowledge and our support, we can gradually build the individual sectors where the services can be accessed by all of us. So it's like we were saying, using our members to build our community. And from there, it's their knowledge, their contacts, their skills that they will be able to help the causes that we come up against. Because like Pete and I are here, but we're just kind of a bit of coordinators and organisers, or a bit, whatever you want to call it. But there's no leaders. It's for everybody. So we want people to step up. We keep saying we can't do it alone, and we really encourage groups to go out, have their own meetings. These hubs have their own meetings and come back to us, because people have the knowledge and the skills out there. Those that have worked in various industries, they can do it way better than any of us. So we want those people.
A lot of businesses, that sort of thing. We've got businesses that are interested in incorporating their businesses into it. So later on, we'll do some advertising and some marketing. We'll bring those people on board as well.
Yep.
So it'll help their business, their small business, and so on.
Yep.
So it'll be food groups. We've already got one started on the side of my house. So some of our members have started putting gardens in. So it's all about helping each other.
Just to come back into the shot there, guys. Well, I think in conclusion, that sounds like it's pretty much just a new way of doing things, but not really a new way, more of a reversion to the older ways, where we are becoming more responsible for our own well-being in our own community, as opposed to letting these other people run rampant doing God knows what and then dictating terms to us. So you had one more thing to add?
It's just something that comes from My Place Australia with their kind of vision for the future as well. They've got visions of getting their own insurance, making primary industry, the hemp industry, building industries, things like that. So the opportunities are almost endless there, but they talk about re-education of a nation. It's like a bit of a catchphrase. So it's where we need to learn our skills, because we've lost all these skills that we're not taught in school anymore. So even if it be down to the basics of how to garden or the alternative health. So it's re-education, and it's putting unity back in community. And that's bringing our numbers together, what we talked about, and decentralisation. So bringing everybody in and doing it all together.
Basically about teaching people what we used to do many years ago. Like I remember my parents, they always had a garden, some chooks and things like that in the yard. And I mean, it's what happens now. Very rare do you see that. I mean, even the council complains if you've got too many chooks, why? So a rooster I can understand, but chooks, anyway.
So yeah, we have lost a lot of those skills, and it's about learning them again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and finding someone who can teach us, and us learning from other people.
Another big thing too is you got all these kids that are running around out in the street. Crime's a big problem in our community. It's even if some of those kids, they want to be able to learn new skills. I don't know about all of them, but some of them might want to learn new skills. So we're there for that as well. So they want to be real and they want to learn stuff. Welcome along, come along.
Awesome. I think a little bit of purpose will do everyone a lot of good. Thank you guys very much for explaining it for us. Anybody interested in jumping on board, check out this link here. On that note, you guys are looking to open up a bit more of a media side. Well, I could definitely jump in and help out there, and I'd love some people to come in and help me with some research. As you've noticed, I haven't been putting a lot out there lately because I'm just strapped for time. I'm working constantly to put food on the table, and I've got heaps of research material. Anybody who wants to jump in and maybe just read through a book or whatever documents I have available. You don't have to put yourself on the camera if you're a bit nervous. Not everybody's as brave as us beautiful people here who jumped in front of the camera. But, if you don't have that bravery, just write it down and I'll read it for you. Just a simple little thing like that will definitely help the cause, and getting that information and knowledge out there. There's only so much, a handful of people can do, and we need more people to step up and start doing stuff. You know, it can't always just be, we don't want to be leaders. I don't want to be a leader. You don't want to be a leader. Who wants to be a leader when we can all just be a community? And I believe that's what this is all about, and it sounds wonderful. So thank you very much for coming on. Let's wrap this up quickly, before people get a bit too bored. Thank you very much, guys. Till next time, don't forget to check out my place. See you later.